Good afternoon, everyone. This is Larry from WordStream, and thank you for joining us today on our 8 Metrics That Matter for PPC webinar. Sorry for the late start here. We're just having a couple glitches in the matrix here. You know how that is. Basically, I'm joined by Sam Owen from Hanapin Marketing, which is the owner and operator of PPC Hero. So we've got a fantastic agenda prepared for you today. Basically, as I was saying earlier, that this webinar is on the 8 PPC account metrics that matter and why we believe that to be the case. And in order to make the case for these 8 metrics, we'll be introducing some data and some statistics from something called the AdWords Performance Grader, which is a really cool AdWords account audit tool for measuring the performance of your accounts. Most of the time today will be spent actually doing a live AdWords clinic. So what's an AdWords clinic? That's like where maybe you've been to a search engine trade show or conference where they will review the accounts of an advertiser in detail, have an expert review on them, and try to get a sense for what's working and what's not working. And we will actually review a couple accounts and according to our 8 key performance metrics and try to get a sense for how those accounts are doing. Also, my colleague Sam here, he's going to be talking about some of the really good tips, actionable best practices, and worst practices to avoid. And also, I'll be talking a little bit about how to use some tools to automate and improve your PPC metrics. And of course, this is a live presentation, so there'll be plenty of time for questions and answers. Just type them into the chat window on the right-hand side of your screen at any time, and we'll get to those towards the end. I guess I'll introduce myself here. I'm Larry. I'm the founder and CTO of WordStream, and I've been doing this kind of stuff for about 10 years now. I founded the company a couple years ago, 3 years ago, and we're an industry-leading provider of PPC management tools and keyword research tools. I'm joined by my colleague, Sam Owen. He's the account manager at Hanapin Marketing. That's the parent company of PPC Hero. Sam's got 3 years of experience in PPC, both here in the US and the UK, and he's a regular blogger for the PPC Hero blog. Welcome, Sam. Do you want to introduce yourself at all?
Hi, Larry. I think you gave me a pretty good introduction there. Just to add to that, pretty excited to go through these metrics today, and I think we should get some good things out of it.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. And an audience, just if you're if you for whatever reason aren't as familiar with Hanapin Marketing and PPC Hero, I just want to say that I've been reading their blog for like 5 years now, and I got to say that it's up there. They've got some of the most awesome PPC insights and cool stuff about PPC. If you want to be learned and studied up on all the latest PPC news and tips, I highly recommend that you add the PPC Hero blog to your feed. All right, so as this is a live event, if you wish to blog, do live blogging of anything on this event, the Twitter hashtag that we're using is #PPC metrics, so just include those on your Twitter tweets or Google Plus updates, and that way we can all follow along. I know there's a lot of people on the call today. And before jumping into all of the case studies and stuff like this, the AdWords Clinic, we always start these off with asking a little bit from the audience, try to get a sense for who's on the line today. As I mentioned, it's a pretty big audience. And so, Kathy, can you launch our first poll question for the audience? Our first poll question for the audience is, which of the following AdWords metrics would you say are the most important for managing your Google AdWords search campaigns? And not wanting to completely bias the answers as they're being punched in there, but Sam, I was just curious, what's your view on this kind of question?
I think it really depends on what you're hoping to achieve. I mean, if you're asking me, I'd say go conversions, because that's what your client's going to care about at the end of the day. It's how much you can sell for them, how many people you can get to sign up for them. Obviously, if the other metrics are complete garbage, then nothing's going to work out well for you. But if you've got a great conversion rate, your cost per conversion low, and you're bringing in the leads, then really everyone's going to be happy. But I mean, I think we're going to see throughout the course of the webinar how these all pretty much interlink.
Yeah, they're all related. You can't really isolate them in reality. But Kathy, can you let us know how we did? I'm not seeing the poll results here.
I think that's pretty clear that people think I'm right.
or maybe you you're influencing the results here. We got our expert panelists.
Could be true as well.
All right. Well, good news. There's good alignment, because that is one of our 8 metrics that we care about here in our presentation. Our other question for the audience today is, and Kathy, can you launch poll question number 2, please? It's just, how long have you been involved with search marketing? Less than a year, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, over 5 years. So as the questions are coming in, Sam, it said that you were doing search for 3 years. How long have you been in the U.S. and what brought you to PPC or Hanapin Marketing?
So I started back in August 2009 over in Cambridge in the UK, and in December I moved over to the US. I actually got married. My wife's American, so I moved over to Illinois, and I was looking for jobs in PPC. Obviously, I was an avid fan of PPC Hero before I got the job here, and kind of looking around and noticed that they were hiring when I was reading the blog. Noticed that Bloomington, Indiana, where we're based, wasn't too far from where I was living, and really it kind of went from there. So I moved over and I started here in April. But I joined with most of my experience being in affiliate marketing, price comparison stuff in the UK. So I like to think I bring something a little different to the team here. I done 2.5 years of in-house stuff before I started client managing.
Awesome. So it looks like we have a lot of diversity in the audience today. It looks roughly equally distributed between less than a year, and kind of junior, intermediate, and senior people. So that's great. All right. So let's move along here. As I was saying earlier, we're going to be talking about PPC metrics, and metrics, of course, are very important. They're a very fundamental part of PPC management. One of the challenges with PPC is that you can sometimes suffer from information overload, meaning like metrics are good, but sometimes it's also nice to know which are the most important key metrics that you ought to be focusing your attention on, and so. Without further ado, I'm going to just declare these to be sort of the 8 metrics that we believe to be very important, very critical to defining your AdWords performance, and therefore your success or failure is largely dependent on these metrics. I'm kind of doing this a little backwards. We're going to start with just declaring these to be the metrics, and I'm going to prove it to you through the process of doing an AdWords audit on various accounts. We'll try to show how these different metrics are either helping or hurting an account's performance. And as I was mentioning earlier, a lot of the insights are generated through the AdWords Grader, which is a free. It's like this awesome free PPC audit tool. You can check it out right now. Go to, like, you're on a website browser right now, just open another tab, go to www.wordstream.com/Google-AdWords, or you can just go to the WordStream homepage and click on the link that says Grade My Account. What it'll do is it'll actually instantaneously, it takes about 20 seconds to run, it'll grade your account against these various key metrics to to give you a sense for how you're doing. And I think that's really interesting because obviously you know how you're doing, but the question is it any good or not? And so that from that perspective, I think that's a pretty interesting tool. All right, so let's just dive in. Before the presentation today, we sent out an email to all the registered attendees saying we're going to be reviewing 2 AdWords accounts in our time together. We're going to look at them, look at the data, try to figure out what's working, what's not working, and we got a lot of responses to the ask, like if you would you like us to review your PPC account like live with Sam and I, and we got a lot of responses, and I had to pick 2 of them, so unfortunately not everyone. We can't review everyone, but I think they're really awesome, and I think I congratulate everyone who volunteered to have their account audited, because I think that's that's definitely the right attitude to have in terms of trying to be transparent and get a second opinion, and be open to constructive ideas and different angles. So thank you all for the data, and let's take a look at our first AdWords report, and this is from Kristen, and he's in the finance industry, and like I was saying, we're literally just going to be reviewing a couple AdWords reports here and trying to figure out like what's working and what's not working, and try to diagnose any areas for improvement here. So this advertiser appears to be doing better than 50% of he's right in the middle, basically. There's not horrible, but there's still room for improvement. So let's take a look at this report for our advertiser here, who's in the finance category, and I've kind of blurred out some of the identifiable information. We'll just look at the data, and our user will remain anonymous today. So this advertiser is spending about $1,000 a month, and at a top level, we provide some basic industry benchmark information in our report, trying to compare some of the averages that we see or that we recommend in the industry that you specify, like for example finance or insurance or travel or whatever, and then we compare how your achievement kind of compares to the industry average here, and this is pretty straightforward. Any thoughts, Sam?
Yeah, I really like this tool. I think you guys have done a really good job putting it together. And I mean, instantly when I looked at this, 2 things kind of jumped out at me. That's, if you want to scroll up just a little bit.
Sure.
So just from the account diagnostics even, 2 things kind of jump at me right away. That's the lowish number of conversions for the clicks, and then also the low number of ad groups, so looking at 10. So I mean, this account's pretty good in general. It's got quite a lot of things going really well for it. But what your tool does is just really highlight the things to me which I can quickly focus on, rather than doing a full audit where I look down and spend an hour going through each of campaigns and ad groups. I can pretty instantly hone in and say, hey, we've got quite a lot of keywords in there at 339, but only 10 ad groups, seeing low conversions. Probably what I'm going to want to do there straight off the bat is look to improve the relevancy. So spin out some more ad groups, break those keywords out, and then hopefully the conversions, I'm going to focus on my landing page a little bit, and then focus on writing ads specifically for keywords so they're not too broad and general in too big of an ad group.
Awesome. So let's dive in. So now that we've kind of seen kind of the high-level statistics of the account, let's see how he's doing in terms of the internals, the more specific metrics that we're tracking here. And the first one here has to do with wasted spend, or basically negative keyword usage. And one of the things this report is highlighting is kind of, or let me take a step back here, just in case people don't know what a negative keyword is. This is a very important targeting feature for AdWords that allows you to exclude keywords, exclude your ads from showing up from certain searches. So, for example, if you're in the finance business but you don't sell insurance, well then insurance would be a negative keyword. So that's a very important way of preventing wasted spend. So one of the first benchmarks that we're calculating here is we're looking to see, are you making an intelligent usage of negative keywords? And if so, how many have you added to your account in the last quarter as well as in the last month? So one of the things I notice here is that it's not very active here, and like given how important negative keywords are to the overall health of a quarter, just having added 8 of them seems like there could be some possible wasted spend that you could find and eliminate if you were being a little bit more proactive. Sam, did you have any other thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I'll take it on a slightly different tack. I'd say negative keywords are something you always want to be looking out for, and it's not necessarily the number of negatives you add, but it kind of informs how you're going to restructure your account. So I had one account I was working on, and we went through and did a huge negative keyword audit. We put hundreds of new negatives in, and actually our sales went down. And what we think is that we had a lot of users in that account who came and researched us one way and then came back. So what we found is that a lot of these negative keywords we'd added in, we could kind of pull them out, set them up as a new campaign, which we added kind of a dash research to, and then put them at low bids. So, you always want to be negative in, but just to come at it from another angle, just be careful as well, because sometimes you might not get the kind of direct sales attributed, but you can kind of affect everything. So just be careful, I guess.
Of course. That's great advice. So moving along to our next metric that matters, it's quality score. And of course, quality scores are important in AdWords because it's a measure of, it's basically Google's grade of your keywords on a scale of 1 to 10. And the higher your quality score, the more ad impressions and the higher the visibility in terms of your ad ranking will be. And conversely, the lower your cost per click would be. So it's basically more for less if you have higher quality scores. And so what the audit tool is doing here is it's kind of checking to see where your quality score, like the quality scores of your keyword impressions are happening. Are they happening at quality score, mostly quality score 3s, then second most is quality score 4s, and then some quality score 10s. It's looking at that distribution. And then it's comparing your distribution to the distribution that we recommend based on our analysis and our insight and our recommendations. And this particular advertiser has an impression-weighted quality score of 4.2. Yeah, I don't think that's terrible or anything, but it could be a possible area. It could be a possible sign of that there could be optimization opportunities to be had. Again, because you could lower your cost per click and get better visibility if this was a little bit higher. Sam, what's your take on this?
Just looking at it real quick, I think they've got a pretty average quality score compared to their group average. So finance, in general, you're going to see lower quality scores than different industries. And that's something to be aware of as well. Sometimes you can kind of be fighting an uphill battle. Google, there's some debate on this, but as far as I can tell, Google penalizes different industries differently. So it could be that everyone you're up against is starting on a 3 rather than starting on a 7 in a different industry. So be a little bit aware of that. But at the same time, this it still applies. You want to make sure that you're kind of weighing towards getting your 7s. And if you see any really low quality scores creep in there, like 1s and 2s, you probably want to take those keywords and separate them out into their own ad groups. That's Google's way of telling you that they don't think that keyword belongs where you've put it.
Yeah. So this advertiser really is right in the middle. We think it's, we're calling it giving it a 44%, right in the middle there, so just slightly under average. Awesome. Impression share. So why does impression share matter? Well, it's a measure of how often your ads are actually appearing for the searches that you would like it to appear, and it's expressed as a percentage. Like, in this case, the advertiser's ads are showing up, 48% of the time it's being shown. However, 49% of the time it's being the ads aren't being displayed as a result of ad rank, which is a combination of either your bids are too low or the relevancy is too low. And so this is just like a nice way of diagnosing problems or opportunities, depending how you look at it, in terms of how much more eyeballs could we go after, if we were to have either like a higher ad rank. Any thoughts on this one, Sam?
Yeah, so the one to look out for straight away is the share loss to budget, because that's the one you can pretty much take an action on as soon as you see it. If you notice you're losing out to budget, then you might want to tweak some of your budgets or shift them around a little bit. Like you said, loss to ad rank pretty much just tells you if you were to make your account perfect, how much bigger is the marketplace given your current keyword selection.
Awesome. I think that you should be striving to get a very high impression share on a narrow set of keywords, if that makes any sense, as opposed to getting like a small impression share on a huge diversity of keywords. It just means that you're being a little bit more intentional about the keyword clicks that you're going to be paying for. And we're about halfway through this report here. This is a really popular report in our AdWords Grader audit tool. It has to do with click-through rate. Now, obviously, click-through rate is the propensity or probably like the proportion of which your ads are clicked on versus the number of times it's shown. And we know that your click-through rate varies depending on how high you are on the page. If you're in the first spot, you're going to have a much higher click-through rate than if you're in the 10th spot. And so what this audit tries to do is tries to get a sense for your distribution of click-throughs. Like, how does your click-through rate by keyword for your top 200 keywords in your account, how does that compare to what's expected at the different positions? And QueryStream has done some research to come up with kind of what a typical curve is in terms of, at the first spot, you should be at like 7.5% click-through rate or something like that. And what we're doing is on this graph here, we're plotting the 200 keywords in your top 200 keywords in your account against the recommended curve, and you can see which keywords of yours are kind of falling above and which ones are below the recommended position or click-through rate. And this particular advertiser has a click-through rate of roughly 1.35%, which I don't consider to be very, very high. I think that's kind of right in the middle. And sure enough, our diagnostic tool is saying that you're around 43% in terms of your ranking there, like right in the middle of the pack. And that in some ways, this to me starts to paint a little bit of a picture that maybe perhaps it is because of these kind of mediocre click-through rates that the quality score is a bit low. Not terrible, but just a little bit. Could be some room for improvement, and which may also explain some of the impression share lost to ad rank. So Sam, I was curious on your take on our advertisers' click-through rate score.
Well, I think there's a couple of things we want to show people on here. So generally, when you're in position 1, some of these keywords you want to look out that will be super high click-through rates. You'll probably notice that those are going to be your brand terms. So I'm assuming that this 57% one up here is going to be, one of their brand terms, and a couple of these might be 2 down above the line. But then the great thing about this tool is that you can kind of check. If you hover over one of these, it will tell you one of the little bubbles that you see, the green bubbles. If you hover over those, it will tell you what the keyword is. So if you start to notice a theme of your ones which are above the line, you can probably start to realize that you've got a pretty good ad relevance going on for those keywords. And then if you find all your ones which are way down low and kind of hover along them and see what they are, that'll give you a really good clue as well as to which of your keywords are really underperforming, and you can start to think about how you're going to write ads differently for those.
So Sam, or an audience, just that hovering capability where you put your mouse over these little dots to see what keywords is doing well and which ones are not, that's not showing up here because I'm operating off of a screenshot of the report as opposed to using the real live report, and the reason was because I needed to blur out some of the personal information to obfuscate the identity of our advertiser today. But if you run your report, you will be able to see that. All right, so moving right along. Our next metric here has to do with account activity. Now, this is a very interesting metric. It's not traditionally a metric that's reported on in terms of your PPC management reports. Typically, you're probably thinking more like CTR and cost per click and cost per conversion, etc. One of the things that this interesting audit tool does, the AdWords Grader, is it grades your account activity, meaning we've noticed that successful AdWords advertisers tend to be a little bit more active in their accounts, like every week, if not every day. We just wanted to get a sense for how often are you actually putting in a little bit of effort to improve your results in terms of taking advantage of optimization opportunities and trying to create, for example, new campaigns, new ad text, adding or deleting keywords or changing bids, trying out different different ad group ideas, etc. And so what we're doing here is we're just doing a quick check to see if we're kind of doing a diligent job of monitoring the situation and reacting to data, or if it's kind of in a state of neglect. And we have some benchmarks here, in terms of gauging the account activity, and this particular advertiser is doing, it's not like they're doing nothing. They're doing some changes here, like ad text, 2 new ads, 9 keyword changes, etc. In the last 30 days, and similar activity in the last 90 days. However, we're kind of grading it as a 25th percentile in terms of maybe there's some room here for in terms of effort, like new keyword ideas, new ad text ideas, etc. Curious on your take on this, Sam.
I'm completely in agreement with you there, Larry. One of the things that really attracted me to working here at Hanapin was that we have such a low number of clients per account manager. So you see some companies out there, you'll have 20 different clients to an account manager. For us, it's just a really low number. You're looking at 3 to 5. And one of the reasons that we get great success is because we have so much time to work on an account. And we see the same as you. The accounts that we spend less time on generally don't do as well. And I mean, the numbers you've got here are pretty good for someone who's kind of part-time looking after an account that, the last 30 days they've made changes in a lot of different areas. And we see the same thing. If we're every week pulling levers and making sure we test things, then we get great results. And if you kind of neglect it, things will start to slip.
Awesome. And I just wanted to add that I did a little bit of research earlier this year on a lot of accounts, and I separated kind of like what we deem to be like really successful accounts, and another group, another cohort of kind of failed accounts, if you will. And of all these metrics, I just wanted to point out that the most discriminating metric in terms of like which metric was the most accurate predictor of success or failure was actually the account activity metric. So that's why it's in here, even though it's not necessarily a way that you would go about looking at your account generally in reports and stuff like that. All right, so moving along, this is Larry here. We're talking about long-tail keyword optimization. So this metric just has to do with the extent to which you're able to do kind of targeting the right keywords that are specific to your business. Now, all we're doing is we're just looking at the ratio of your impressions that are happening, that are being accrued to kind of one-word keywords. So that would be like something very broad and unspecific, like insurance. That's like a one-word term, but it's not very specific because you don't necessarily know what kind of insurance. So is it motorcycle insurance? Is it house insurance? Life insurance? So that would be a one-word keyword. On the flip side is kind of the long tail and mid-tail keywords, which are like 3 words. So like online motorcycle insurance quote. 2 or 3 or 4 word keywords, and we're just trying to see what the ratio is here to get a sense for if there are some targeting opportunities, like to be more specific here. And it looks like this advertiser is doing a very good job here. So this is actually of the most one of the better ones that I see, and then of course we've given them a grade of like the 79th percent there, so that's pretty good. That the majority, almost 3/4 of the impressions being kind of accrued to the account are happening at keywords that are very specific in nature. So that could be helpful. Sam.
The only thing I really wanted to add here was just be a little bit mindful if your account is very mobile heavy. Generally, you'll see people search for fewer keywords on their phone than they would on their desktop. That just kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't know if you've got stubby fingers like I have, but I don't really want to type out compare car insurance quotes online into Google. I'd rather just type car insurance when I'm on my phone. So that's just one thing to kind of be aware of. It won't affect many accounts, but if you think you've done a pretty good job with your keywords and you're very mobile heavy, that could be the reason that this doesn't grade quite so highly.
All right. Again, all these are just kind of indicators, and together they paint a picture. It's not particularly helpful to just to obsess over, say, one metric or two metrics. They kind of work together as a to indicate the overall health of an account. This is a very interesting one here. We're almost done here in terms of our categories. Ad text optimization. One of the things that we look at in this report is just, are you doing a good job at ad text optimization? Is your ad text, are they resonating with the people who are seeing the ads, or are they falling flat? And also, what kind of effort are you putting into this important activity of ad text optimization? So we look at stuff like number of active text ads, and compare it to the benchmark here. And so this advertiser has 20 ads. It's not bad. It's kind of in the middle. We're giving it like a 44% score there. We're also looking at the number of ad texts per ad group to get a sense for like how many are you doing A/B testing of ads, like trying out different ads, and this advertiser is doing a pretty good job of they have 2 ads per ad group on average. I think that's not bad. And one other thing I wanted to just point out here in terms of like this advertiser's best and worst ad, I kind of blurred out the company information here, but you can kind of see what a difference. Like some ads are doing 14.7% click-throughs, which is very high, much higher than the expected click-through rate that we tend to see of 6.8 in this average position of 1.1. On the other hand, there's others, and granted this is kind of not a huge sample, like 147 impressions, but nevertheless, it doesn't seem to be resonating as much, and so that should be a real kind of motivation to do this kind of ad text optimization, and that's why it's here. Sam, your thoughts?
No, I think this account's pretty good for text ads in terms of having 2 per ad group. That's kind of the minimum you want to see. What we do, if you're kind of getting pressure to get results, I'd say sometimes it's even okay to slip down to 1 ad. If you know you've got an ad that's best, you can kind of come down and just use your winning ad for a period of time. But really you want 2 or 3, and especially if you've got impression-heavy ad groups. Just make sure that you're only testing 1 variable at a time once you've kind of refined down to an ad you think works, because if you change your entire ad, you're maybe not sure if it's your display URL that's made a big difference, or if it's the call to action you've got in there, or just your headline. So that's something we like to do every week, rotate in a new set of ads, maybe change 1 variable, say, hey, did you know if we include www at the front of our display URL, we get a 10% boost in our click-through rate? And, that's going to be an extreme example, but that's kind of a good way to do it if you don't really have a robust approach to your ad testing.
Awesome. And similarly, we talk a little bit about in the report landing page optimization. So, are you doing landing page optimization? Do you have multiple offers for different types of keywords searches? Obviously, it doesn't make sense to send all of your traffic to like your home page or one offer page, and obviously two offers is better than 1, but how much is enough? This particular advertiser has 10 landing pages or different offers on their campaign, and we're just saying that the benchmark might be like 20 or 15 or whatever. So it's been pretty good. The 10 offer pages is pretty good, like 72nd percentile, we're saying, for an advertiser of their size. And again, just kind of looking at metrics like the conversion rates, which appear pretty low here versus the expected conversion rate average. So this could be a possible area for optimization. Any thoughts, Sam?
This was something I really liked about the account. So they had 10 ad groups, and they've got 10 landing pages. So that suggests to me that they're probably being pretty specialized. And that's kind of what I'd recommend. I think they don't have the best quality score, so I'm wondering if maybe they could still tweak those a little bit and make the headlines more relevant and put some text in there that's going to be more relevant to the ad they're serving. But generally, I'm pretty impressed with this.
All right. So overall, our last section of the account is of the audit. We just what the tool does is it looks through your campaigns to make sure that you're using sort of just generic best practices, like are you using network targeting on all of your campaigns, like separating search versus display? Are you doing geo-targeting on all of your campaigns so that you make sure you're not like impressing on, I don't know, countries that you don't do business in? We just make sure that language targeting is on, et cetera, et cetera. Like these things, if you're really if you're an expert, it may sound obvious, but on average, we tend to see like and maybe this is like Sam, like this is more for WordStream kind of type customers because we tend to work with more smaller, medium-sized businesses. We tend to see that like half of accounts don't have conversion tracking on. Negative keywords, like 25% of the accounts like haven't ever used a negative keyword before. So this is just a way to check to make sure you're adhering to some of the basic best practices. Sam, what are you seeing there?
So I think we do the exact same thing here when we get a new client in. So we've got a slightly different checklist we go down, but essentially it's the same deal. We look for everything that's possibly missing. In this case, ad extensions would be a big one to me if we want to get that click-through rate up quickly. And then obviously modify broad. I haven't seen the account from the inside, so I don't know if they're really heavy on broad or if they're actually pretty good and have a tight use of exacts only. But it'll be kind of the place to start. But yeah, I really like this idea of just the thumbs up, thumbs down, giving me a pointer because it might take me a couple of hours to go through the account and tick these all off and make sure I know what's working. But with this tool, straight there for me.
So I think that's the key then. Like I would tell this advertiser, you got to get your click-through rates and quality scores up, and basically the ways that you're going to do this is using these ad extensions, which draw additional attention to your ad, using the broad match modifier type, which will improve the targeting. It's kind of a match type that's in between broad match and phrase match, and as well as ad text optimization. I think that those would be my three kind of big ideas. What do you think?
I think the only one I'd add to that is maybe separate out a few more of your keywords into more ad groups so you can target your ad messaging a bit better. But apart from that, I think you're pretty spot on there, Larry.
Awesome. Well, so that's all. That's the audit for this account. As you can see, it's got the 50% grade. It's kind of right in the middle. Room for improvement. So don't stop. Just keep working at it. So I thought that was a lot more interesting than just like talking off of slides and just claiming that certain metrics are really important. I just wanted to do this approach of kind of showing how it's so helpful and how these metrics can help you identify issues in your account. We're a little bit running a little bit late here, Sam. So let's just breeze through this next one here. It's doing pretty good. It's in the 71st percentile. They're in the people and society / family relationships business. So as you can see, our grader, it has very specific industry categories and it allows you to get a pretty good sense for how you're doing against relevant companies. Again, high-level statistics seem to be okay. Any key thoughts here, as I go through here, Sam?
This is an example of a pretty good account that can't get conversions for whatever reason. So I think straight away I'd look at landing pages, and you're seeing that reflected in a slightly low quality score as well. So it could be a landing page issue, it could be a relevancy issue, maybe keywords not being sent to the right place where users are going to want them.
Yeah, so this is the quality score issue that Sam was talking about, mostly 3s, and that does feel a little bit underweight here in terms of what we typically see, and that these quality score issues might be potentially causing some lost impression share. Yeah, the click-through rate, interestingly, is doing pretty good. I thought 3%. That's higher than I typically see, and the account manager of this account is very active in terms of being very diligent in terms of doing work in the account. Here's the ad text. Do you want to talk about this one at all?
It's pretty similar to the last one. I think they're good that they've got 2 ads per ad group. Let's have a quick look at the ads here.
I think they're fantastic. Like the best ad here, it's just so emotionally connecting with the searcher here, like anger management skills, calming the anger, healing the hurt. Click-through rate of 7.4%. So just to our previous advertiser, the one in the finance industry, like if you can make these kind of really, these moving ads, you can actually get your click-through rates up from like the 1.5% to like 7.4%. I think that was pretty great. This one here, it's not as captivating. It's just saying counseling center, couples therapy. It's very matter of fact, and of course the click-through rate is very low. It's 0.4%. Okay, so why don't we just move back to our deck here and move along now that we've had a chance to look at these 2 AdWords accounts and talk briefly about the things that they're doing great and areas for improvement. I think our key takeaway here is just if you want to improve your account performance, it's that you need to focus on these metrics that we were talking about. And in the next section of our talk here today, we wanted to drive it home a little bit with some specific tips and best practices that you could use here, both in terms of best practices and also tools that'll help you improve on these specific metrics. And to this end, I asked Hanapin Marketing, we sent it out to all of the PPC heroes at Hanapin Marketing to send in their top, just #1 top AdWords tip for improving these metrics, and here's kind of what they came up with. I'm going to hand this over to Sam.
Yeah, so just so everyone knows, these guys hadn't seen the presentation. They didn't know what the key 8 metrics were that WordStream and I have kind of come up with. So they might be a little different, but I'm going to try and turn them back around and see how we can kind of apply them here. So the first one's from Sean, who's one of our writers. I guess everyone will be. I find it crucial to look across different campaign types to get a good sense of your account. I've learned valuable lessons about landing pages. Performance across search and display can vary widely, or ad tech. Certain types of display campaigns respond well to questions, while others don't. Using a handful of campaign groupings that I tailor to each of my different accounts. So what essentially he's saying is you can't really look at your data individually and get that overall big picture. What you need to do is step back. You need to look at maybe all of your search ads and all of your display ads and see if there's different trends. And what I'm actually going to do is jump to tip number 2, because here we go. So pivot tables are our favorite friend at Hanapin Marketing, and that's if you've ever read any of Sean's hero posts, then generally about 75% of them are about pivot tables. So what a pivot table is, for anyone who doesn't know, is in Excel, if you get a table of your data, you can press the pivot table button. I think in the latest version it's under the data tab, and it will put together all your data in a way you can kind of collate it and see different trends and topics. So you could see by different headlines, if you had a ton of ads with similar headlines but really different description line 1s and 2s, you could see maybe across your whole account you only have 2 different headlines, where you could collate that data straight away and look, hey, when I use the headline car insurance, I have an average 5% click-through rate, and when I use the headline car insurance quote, I have a 6% click-through rate. So you could instantly learn that lesson using pivot tables and kind of apply it back. And that goes back to tip 1 that Sean said, which was make sure you kind of look through your account rather than just at it, so you're finding different themes and how it kind of applies. So Dave said, combine these with any PPC metrics for some great actionable data. I found these to be particularly helpful when analyzing search queries and determining the amount of spend and/or conversions that might be affected by adding a proposed negative keyword. The sheer versatility of this tool makes it an excellent way to break down and analyze your PPC data sheets. So again, he's talking more on the keyword side of things. So one thing you can do, and this is slightly advanced, is if you know a way to break out all of your search query strings, to take your search query report, break out your keywords so you only have the individual word and the stats associated with it. So if you had, for example, car insurance quotes online, you'd break out car insurance quotes and online and give them the stats from that line, and you do that through all maybe 10,000 of your search queries. And you can identify if there are certain keywords in there that will tell you things that will perform differently. So we found in one account, this was an auto sales company, and they had wheel balancers for cars. So we found that when we used the word balancing, so wheel balancing, wheel balancing services, our conversion rate was terrible. And when we used the word balancer, it was really, really good. So these are kind of the things that maybe slightly more advanced you could look for. I think there's a post up on PPC Hero if you want to search for it. I'm sure we can send a link out to anyone who requests it. But that's kind of a pretty cool thing to look at. The next thing, this is from Eric. So he's pretty much our keyword guru here at Hanapin. The great idea here is to start with a really strong keyword list. So if you can build a table and put all your keywords together and have a really big list of keywords right from the start, you're probably going to have more success with your account. So when performing keyword research, the best answer I can give you is to take a good long look at your account and think what might be missing. It's usually something obvious, utilize your co-workers, fresh set of eyes, etc. WordStream's Keyword Niche Finder is actually, it's one of the tools they offer for keyword research that's pretty similar to Google's keyword tool. We use it a lot here and we think it's really good, so if you haven't used it, I definitely recommend you take a look. And then Eric, again, kind of using templates to build keywords out is one of the things he really agrees with. And I know, Larry, we had a post on PPC Hero recently talking about going wide with your keywords. So if anyone doesn't really know what that is, we had a guest writer say that he likes to look for different ways to approach an idea. So so say you're a plumber and you have the keywords plumbing San Francisco plumbers, San Francisco plumbing company. That's great, but what he likes to do is look and think, okay, how could I think how my customer's going to think? How could I think what they're going to look for? How can I get my keyword list as strong as possible? And this kind of ties in with negatives. So you want to think, what are they going to be thinking about when they actually want a plumber? And what are they going to be thinking about when they want to do it themselves and you don't want to be there? So it could be if they're thinking DIY plumbing repairs, you could put an ad out there that says, 75% of DIY repairs end in failure, San Francisco plumbing company. So that's just a kind of approach that I thought I'd mention because I kind of wanted Larry's thoughts on that because he commented on that post.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting approach. Anyways, I think we'd have to pick up the pace here as we are very short on time here. Should we just?
Yeah, I'll just run through these last two then for you. So this is from Jeff. He's just saying if you want to look at whether your ad's successful, whether it's sometimes we see one with good click-through rates, sometimes we see one with good conversion rates. Actually, the best way to judge it is just look for conversions per impression. This is a pretty simple calculation to do, and that's just a quick metric that he looks at in every account he gets to declare some ad winners. And then moving on, excuse me, I clicked there. So this is just me. I'm a big believer in having great landing pages. I said having the best converting website is like being a race car driver in the fastest car. You aren't guaranteed to win, but it sure makes it easier. So I always say spend about a third of your time doing landing pages, or at least working with your CRO team.
Awesome.
So that's pretty much it for me.
I love how you quote yourself there. uh, says Sam. Great. So we can, yeah, basically, so WordStream, we provide some tools to do automated PPC management, and Hanapin, they do the kind of the consulting account management and stuff. So there's not a lot of overlap between our two companies. Sam's kind of talked about some of the best practices that they employ at Hanapin, and I wanted to briefly talk about some of the tools and automated features that WordStream has to offer that can help you be successful. One of them is to use this tool called QueryStream. It's just it's actionable search query report data. Lets you see what clicks you're paying for, and helps you figure out if they're good or bad, and lets you to either add them to your account or eliminate them. It's pretty simple. You just look at it. Here's your search queries, the stuff that you're actually paying for. Clicks on these search queries. And it allows you to filter the data, like, exclude converting keywords, exclude keywords that are already in my account or whatever. And you can then go ahead and just add them to your account or set them as negative keywords. We have this really neat thing called the 20-minute PPC work week. So what that's like, it's like a helper that is telling you what to do in your account, and it's just gives you, we do a lot of analysis every week on your account and try to find 10 things for you to focus on. Remember how we were saying earlier that account activity, like doing something, like optimizing your account, is really key. You can't just like set it and forget it. Well, by using this 20-minute PPC work week, we'll give you a list of the 10 things to focus on per week, and that makes it very simple, like adding negative keywords or reviewing bids or pausing poorly performing keywords, etc. We talked a little bit about these idea of doing keyword targeting, long tail, and negative keyword research, and basically, as Sam was saying earlier, we have these trillion keyword database with really cool data information in it, and helps you figure out keywords that you may have missed out on. Here's how it works. It's a really simple tool. It just tells you, hey, we found possibly 37 extra clicks for you every year. Here are the keywords that we're recommending. Do you want to add them? If so, here's the bid that we recommend, and then you just click apply. It takes 2 seconds. Negative keyword research, again, super simple. This particular company is doing like server application stuff, so like kind of computer stuff. But unfortunately, what we're finding from doing some analysis is that they're actually being charged for words like white pages or like job applications and all this stuff. So we found all this junk that might be not converting, and so we're suggesting that you set them as negatives. And that's typically takes a while, but our product can helpfully find these negative keywords for you and help you add them in a way that doesn't take very much time. It takes 10 seconds. So yeah, we're at the end of our at the webinar here. It's a summary. Do you want to talk about that, Sam?
Sure. So I think hopefully if you've been paying attention, then obviously Larry's kind of made a pretty good case for these 8 metrics that WordStream considered to be really important, and it's kind of backed by the data that they've collected, because they get a ton of people come through their stuff. So focus on your quality score, click-through rate, impression share, account activity, your keyword optimization, your negative keywords, your ad testing, your ad text metrics, and your conversion rate and landing page metrics. Pretty straightforward stuff, I'm sure you all know, but hopefully just seeing how the account grader works and hearing us talk about it's kind of giving you a few ideas of what you might have missed. Definitely leverage tools. We use this all the time, even though we consider ourselves to be pretty well versed in PPC. You can always miss stuff, so we use the WordStream tools all the time, see what's kind of obviously missing that we just might not see with the first kind of look through. And then, spending time, definitely point C here. Spend time on your accounts. If you don't have that much time, then you want to work smart and kind of use the tools WordStream's got and dedicate whatever time you do have to the areas you think are going to get you the biggest impact. Otherwise, you can use a company like us to do that work for you, and I highly recommend that. But WordStream tools are pretty great too. So that's pretty much what I'd say to do.
Awesome, Sam. And audience, if you are in the market for an agency and you're a large large spender of the $25,000 or more, I definitely recommend Hanapin Marketing because of their thought leadership, and I know I've had an opportunity to work with about 4 PPC heroes over the last.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, web events made easy.
In the agency space, sometimes there's great agencies and sometimes not so great, but Hanapin Marketing I have no trouble endorsing in terms of like if you're a large $25,000 a month spending and are looking for expert agency help. All right, so we're just have a last poll question. Kathy, can you launch our final poll question, please?
Sure.
Are you there, Kathy?
1 sec.
Awesome.
Hello?
And our last question for our audience today: would you be interested?
Welcome to GoToWebinar, web events made easy.
I think you could see today how we walk through the report with you and help you interpret the results. And so I definitely encourage you to take us up on that offer, the free offer. The other offers here are a free trial of the WordStream PPC Advisor software. And our final offer is from Hanapin Marketing, which is a free one-on-one solutions blueprint account assessment with Hanapin Marketing. And this is only for a count of $20,000 a month in spend or more. Sorry, I misspoke. It should have been $20,000, not $25,000. Sam, do you want to add anything about your offering here?
It's pretty good. There's no obligation if you want to just come and get a free audit from us. We'll pick things up even if you don't want to end up using our services at all. We have a pretty mixed offering as well for bigger accounts. So sometimes we can just come in and offer you a few hours a month depending on how much help you need. Sometimes we help your in-house team as well, just find some things and give them some ideas for what they need to work on. And then other times we can manage the whole account, obviously, which is what we normally do. But yeah, we'd love to hear from anyone who might be interested.
Yeah, I hope people are taking us up on one of these offers, at least at a minimum. What I've found in PPC management is like, it's kind of like what Sam was saying earlier. Like, why wouldn't you want a second opinion? There's always things that you could possibly be missing or could value a second opinion, and that if you find these little gems, sometimes they're very, very valuable to the performance of your account. So I hope people take us up on the offer. Kathy, as the poll questions are being answered, could we just go to questions here, please?
Sure. So our first question is, can you give me an example of modified broad match?
I'll take this one if you want, Larry.
Sure, go ahead.
So for anyone who doesn't know, adding a modified broad match is essentially like adding a broad match, but what you want to do is put a plus symbol in front of the keyword or keywords in the query that you're adding in as your keyword. So for example, if you're doing car insurance rates, then you might want to put plus car insurance rates, and then every query that appears, someone will have typed car somewhere in there. So it could be that they typed insurance for cars, or insurance for car even, and that would work in that modified broad.
It excludes synonyms and related cars, related terms. I've got cars on the brain. So meaning your ads won't show up for like searches on scooter insurance, because scooter is a synonym or related term to car. So it just allows you to be a little bit more deliberate in terms of telling Google, what ads, like what searches to show your ads for. And I definitely recommend a modified broad match over broad match any day of the week. Our next question, please.
Okay, this question is for Sam. Sam, you said to compare conversions with impressions and instead of conversions with clicks. Why would you look at impressions versus clicks?
So I guess the idea here is when you have two ads against each other, one's going to show, potentially, we see this quite a lot of the time, one has a really high click-through rate but isn't necessarily great for conversion rate, and one has a lower click-through rate but a really high conversion rate. So what you're looking for at the end of the day is the total number of conversions you're going to get for every impression. So it doesn't matter if you get 100 clicks and it gets you 10 So say you have 1,000 impressions, you get 100 clicks, you get 10 sales. Well, it doesn't necessarily matter if you have those same 1,000 impressions, you get 50 clicks, but you also get 10 sales. So sometimes when the numbers aren't as easy to work out as that, what you want to look out for is maybe you've had 1,000 impressions and you've got 10 clicks, but you've made 10 sales. Now that's going to be better than 1,000 impressions with 500 clicks, but only one sale. So what we like to do is, for every impression we get, how many sales or how many leads are we getting? So just something to look at rather than the metrics you get when you look in your ad section in your account.
Okay,
Cool.
great. So this is a question about the AdWords grader. This attendee is asking, can branded ad groups and branded ads skew the report from the grader?
You know, we're looking at the account at a whole. I mean, if you're just advertising on branded terms, I mean, the challenge of that is that you're only getting people who already know you. You know, typically what I find is that companies do have branded campaigns, but that's not necessarily like the only thing in their search marketing campaign. And so, on average, because every account has some branded terms in them, you know, that I think it's a wash. That no, I think because of how we compute the benchmarks, you know, and because every account typically has some branded terms in there, I think that it's a fair comparison.
Okay, great. So the next question is actually, what's the best way to get my data into a spreadsheet, and how often should I be exporting and analyzing my data?
Sam?
Well, the best way to get it from AdWords is just to download it. So on any of your AdWords pages, you should see a little arrow download button. If you download that, take enough data, for an average account, I'd say somewhere between 30 and 45 days, depending on how many clicks you get. So to download it that way, get it in Excel. You can manipulate it better there, so you can use filters, pivot tables. Sorry, what was the second part of that question?
And the second part is, how often should I be exporting my data and doing the analysis?
So again, that kind of depends. If you've got a huge account, then you probably want to be checking things like your ad tests once a week. If you've got a small account, then it really needs to be when data is significant. So you'll find online, you'll find some tools like maybe Google like A/B split test calculator or something like that, and that will tell you significantly when one thing is doing better than the other. And just general accounts, I'd say I normally do a kind of intermediate level audit about once a month, just to check everything's still kind of as I'd want it. So it really depends on your account, how big it is, how small it is, but those are kind of rough guidelines.
Okay. The next question is around quality score. What does impression-weighted quality score mean, and why is it better than regular quality score?
Oh, sure, I'll take that. Basically, say you had two keywords, okay, and one keyword had 1,000 impressions, and it was quality score 1, okay, and the other one had 1 impression, and it was quality score 10. Well, the average quality score of a keyword that is 1 and 10, if you just average them, it's 5.5. You know, 1 plus 10 equals 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. But that's not exactly an accurate picture of what's happening in the account. What's happening is you've got two keywords. One of them is at 1, and it's soaking up all the impressions. And the other one is like not getting any impressions at all, and it just happens to be at a quality score 10. And so impression-weighted quality score just kind of weights the different quality scores in your account according to the number of impressions being accrued to each keyword. So we think that's a much more accurate way of looking at kind of the quality scores in your account.
And Larry, I'll just jump in and say, if anyone wants a more detailed explanation of how to work that out, Google Brad Geddes quality score PPC hero, and there should be a video on there. So that's Brad Geddes. If you don't know him, it's Geddes is his surname, but he did a really good video explaining how to work all that out.
Or just run the grader.
For sure, yeah.
We'll tell you your quality score, the weighted average. Any other questions for our audience?
Sir, we do have another question. You had mentioned ad extensions. Could you explain what those are and why we should use them?
I'll take that one, sure. Ad extensions, it's like pimping your ad. Is that it's like the bells and whistles on your ad. Ads have gotten much different in the last 2 years. They've been adding like all these like newsletter sign-up boxes and coupon offers and social extensions and maps and locations and site links. Like it's all that junk that appears like around and beside your ad that just helps draw additional attention to your ad, and that's why I think Sam was recommending it to the first advertiser as a possible way to raise your click-through rate, because it makes your ad appear like twice as tall. Anything to add to that, Sam?
Nope. If you go into your account, if you don't know what it is, then it'll be one of the tabs along, or the second row of tabs, I guess, along. It should say Ad Extensions. You can kind of go in there and have a look. You'll get site links, locations, call extensions, and it'll just 99% of the time we see it increase click-through rates. So that's why we recommend it.
Same here.
Okay. We have a question about the grader. One of our attendees is asking how private is my information that I submit to the grader?
We don't disclose your data to anyone.
Okay.
Well, basically, if you have those concerns, what can I say? Like, we can't do an audit of an account unless we know what's in the account. So it's kind of like a catch-22. I mean, some people, would like us to tell them what's wrong with the account, but without seeing the account, and so that's like very frustrating. It's very difficult to do. It's like you give a little, and we're giving you back the free analysis and insight, and we think that's like a decent trade. And then, by the way, like it's just a snapshot of your account, like today. So it's not to say that this is going to be like what your account looks like even tomorrow or next week or a month from now.
Great. So we're running short on time. I do want to at least get through one more question, and this one is about landing pages. So the question is, how many landing pages should I have? Should I have one per ad group, one per ad? What's the best practice?
I'll take this real quick. So it's not really a best practice, so to speak. I think the more targeted you can be with your landing pages, the better. You need to have a significant amount of traffic, really, to make it worthwhile. But I'll just give one quick example of where I used to work. We had a price comparison website, and every time we set up an ad group, we would also set up a landing page to go along with it. And it did work pretty well. The trouble is it's also time consuming. So just to put that in context, if we were comparing televisions, we would have a page that said, or an ad group that was for best televisions, then our keywords would be best televisions, best television, best television to buy, something like that. And then we'd always make sure we had a corresponding landing pages where the H1, the headline said best televisions, and then we had our price comparison alongside. So I recommend it. I think it improves conversion rates, and people feel comfortable when what they see in your ad and what they type in their keyword is also the message that's reinforced to them on the landing page. So if you sell very different products, I'd definitely recommend having different landing pages. You don't necessarily have to be quite as time-consuming with doing it as we were, but the data I've seen always corresponds that the more targeted, the more relevant you can be, the better, and it will also help with your quality scores too.
Just a quick addition here. I mean, the question was how many. I can give you a number. It varies based on your spend, really, because it takes a lot of time and effort to create these landing pages. And if you're spending $100 a month on search, it doesn't make sense to have 1,000 landing pages. You know, it just you're just putting way too much effort for the amount of money you're investing in search. That the effort and time of creating these landing pages could actually be much higher than the value that can be produced from that. So you need to have like a little equilibrium there. I've taken a stab at calculating some benchmarks in terms of like if your spend is between this and this, like here's a typical number of landing pages that I recommend, and that's included in the greater analysis. So if you just run that, you'll see your number, and it's going to be relevant to sort of certain benchmarks in your account, such as your spend, etc. So
just to let people know, that account was a $1 million plus account. So, you know, if it was $1,000, then it probably wouldn't be worth your time.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, hey, Kathy, can you close the poll? Is that possible?
Sure. So the poll is actually closed. I think we just need to advance to the last slide. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone for attending, and the URLs for those offers are up here on the screen. We will also be sending a link to the presentation in a day or two. So again, thank you for attending, and hope everyone has a great holiday. And thank you, Larry and Sam.
Thanks for having me.
Sam and Kathy.
And have a great day, everyone. That's all. Bye-bye.